I think my magazine encompasses most of what an audience would want to see in this genre. This production has allowed me to overcome problems and develop my knowledge about this industry, which I didn't know a lot about before. Everything I've done to get to this point was necessary research and planning and allowed me to get the best production possible. I first knew when we got the brief that I wanted to do an architect magazine, as I knew it had a niche market which would allow me to focus on connecting to my audience more, and this is a subject area I'm interested in expanding my knowledge on. This interest and connection gave me more motivation to create something that represented a product that would actually be seen on the market. To start off with, before I started to specialise in the area of architecture, I wanted to research the magazine industry as a whole. This allowed me to see what and who was popular currently and the way companies run their magazines. After this was when I started to research more into the genre that I wanted to focus on. My aim was to find out what other magazines in the genre do to create a successful magazine shown in my genre conventions post. This then led me on to researching more competitor magazines. I found when looking at these that all the architect magazines on the market tend to conform to the same conventions. They all have a crisp and organised layout which makes them look professional. I also wanted to know who I was aiming my product at and what would attract them to a magazine. This audience research allowed me to target my magazine specifically at the people that would be buying it. After this research and finding out I would be aiming my magazine at males and females between the age 25 to 40 that fall in the socio-economic category AB, I could take further actions to tailor my magazine to be specifically for them. For example, having a variety of social platforms which people in this category tend to use, where they could read more about the magazine. As the market for my magazine is more niche and it is a business that offers a higher wage, I know that people in this area and the ones that would be looking to buy my magazine would have a large disposable income and would therefore allow me to create a higher quality magazine that can be retailed at a higher price. Along with this, I wanted to make a lot of my magazine based online, as this is a business that is quickly moving to be fully online. This, plus the hard copy, would allow them to have a number of different options to choose the platform that is most suited to them. For the article, I wanted to produce one that wasn't specialised in a specific subject area so that everyone would be able to read and be interested in it, as it is the first issue. I found out relevant information and talked about things they could associate themselves with in one way or another. I also found that my photography research helped me a lot due to the fact that I don't have the best knowledge on photography, but that the image were an important part of my magazine. These small details all further improve my magazine and therefore allow the reader to get fully invested. When I did go into producing my magazine, I found that Adobe Photoshop would be the best software for me to edit my images, due to the fact that I have used this before and am familiar with most of the tools in this program. I did, however, have to do some more research into things like the clone tool, which enabled me to manipulate my image so it was suitable to fit on my cover page. When constructing the magazine, Photoshop restricted me and didn't fully allow me to do the things I wanted to do, so thought that Adobe InDesign would be more appropriate to use. But as I have not used this before, I practiced on a mock-up magazine, which wasn't related to my genre but still shows the overall style and layout that a magazine should have. And this allows me to get used to the tools which I think I became familiar with fairly quickly, and allowed me to be comfortable enough to produce my magazine using InDesign. I did face some problems when making my magazine, as I found that the cover lines was hard to place on my cover page and my images were not appropriate for my double page spread. Instead of letting this stop me, I think I took the right steps to overcome it. I tried a number of different cover lines in different places to see which would be the most suitable and created a new layout plan for my double page spread, which fitted the images I had collected. Apart from this, I found that I stuck to my original plans, only tweaking some parts to make my magazine better. I did want to challenge some conventions when producing my magazine, but keep the familiarity for the audience. I did this by keeping an organised layout that can be easily navigated but focused on gathering images of buildings with more detail and historical value that you wouldn't typically see in an architect magazine. This allows the audience to become accustomed to the layout which would be featured in further issues of the magazine. This would make them rebuy as they feel comfortable and they would know what to expect, but shows my magazine is unique on the market due to the photo styles. Overall, I think my magazine production turned out well. Its clear house style carries throughout the cover, contents and double-page spread. It will stand out on retailers' shelves while still being familiar and having the sophisticated look that is seen in other architect magazines. I think that the part of a magazine's success is due to the appropriate research and planning and keeping all of this in mind when it's being produced, but the success most importantly depends on having a good relationship between the company and the magazine they produce and fully connecting with your audience. I think my magazine and business have achieved this.